It looks like things have finally come together for TV's smooth operator.
Good evening, everyone. Here's what's happening tonight.
Back in Cincinnati, everybody knew George's dad when he was growing up. Nick Clooney anchored the local news and had his own shows on TV and radio, where George and his sister Ada were regulars. Mom was first runner-up Miss Kentucky, 1959. So showbiz was in the blood. When George was 21 and considering an acting career, a local TV station interviewed him about his famous father.
People keep coming up to me and saying, you know, isn't it awful, you know, being known as Nick Clooney's son? And, you know, 5 years from now, they'll go up to my dad and say, aren't you George Clooney's father?
Come on to my house, I'm gonna give you candy.
Shortly after that prophetic statement, George headed for L.A. to live with his father's famous sister, singer-actress Rosario Clooney. George helped out by doing odd jobs around the house. This is his Aunt Rosemary's favorite story.
And so, George, I'm going to do that for you. The next road trip that you're on, I'm going to paint the fence. And that's... So I got home, and I was in my room upstairs, and then I went in the bathroom, and I could see the tennis court, and I said, gee, George, painted the fence. What a wonderful thing. And then I happened to walk out, and he painted just the part I could see from my bathroom.
Oh, your badge is upside down.
Not when you look at it from here.
His first big TV job was ER, a different ER, a 1984 sitcom about life in a Chicago emergency room. It died in its first year.
Booker, I gotta get off an hour early today.
No, I can't do it. We're 200 cases behind on that Gilman order.
He had better luck playing the boss on that infamous first season of Roseanne, when the star fired the show's executive producer, Matt Williams. But George quit after one season and was off for what he thought was the big time.
That was the bravest thing I've ever seen a vegetable do.
George had, without a doubt, one of the worst track records in show business. 5 movies so bad they couldn't be released. Over a dozen failed TV series, and in the middle of it all, a failed marriage. He was married briefly in 1989 to actress Talia Balsa. Then, after a string of beautiful women, George is now in the sole company of Celine Balatron, a kindergarten teacher he met while visiting friends in France. In fact, George's only nemesis these days seems to be tabloid journalism. Just days after Princess Diana's fatal accident, he delivered this damning statement.
Princess Di is dead. And who should we see about that? The driver of the car, the paparazzis, or the magazines and papers who purchase these pictures and make bounty hunters out of photographers?
At the time of our interview, he was remodeling his new Hollywood home.
Look at this. Oh. Trying to get a bigger door here.
Oh, Max? Hey, Max, there's a pig in my house.
Max is not a mascot. He's George's pet pig and longtime companion.
He sleeps on the foot of my bed a lot.
Is he house-trained, as we would say?
Well, this is a new house, so we'll see soon enough. He's been drinking a lot of water. He's hysterical, though. Look at this. Mac, watch this. You want to make him sit? Sit. Sit down. Sit. Sit. There you go, buddy. This room we didn't have to do much to. Just change this was a tile top.
You know, this is a big house. Does this mean that you know that you're a success?
Well, this is, my 8th television show, so I consider this house bought for by bad television.
What's this room going to be?
This is a projection room. I'm putting a projector, a screen will come down here.
This room's done.
Well, pretty much. I threw it together for you.
Ah, thank you. This is the library?
Mm-hmm.
Look who's here.
Well, these are actually his books.
And don't be concerned about George meeting the monthly mortgage. His current asking price is reported to be $10 million per film. But will movie success mean the end of Dr. Ross? At the moment, George says he's committed to at least 2 more seasons. George, I think what everyone wants to know, at least I do when you watch, is how do you learn all that stuff? I mean, give me 12 cc's of epi, give me a CAT scan, EKG, stat, I mean, you can learn a script, but if it doesn't make sense to you, how do you learn all those things?
When we first started, it didn't make sense. Now it does. There is a part of you that picks it up, and all of a sudden you understand supraventricular tachyarrhythmia and stuff like that. The problem is you have to learn it every day. Do what?
Say it again.
Supraventricular tachyarrhythmia. It's just speeding up of the heart.
Piece of cake.
The thing is, the thing that was tough is, initially it's Greek, and we just don't understand it. And it wasn't just that, it was also the physical stuff,
Sure.
because we're
what
doing...
do you pick up? Maybe you pick up the wrong thing.
I come back with a tongue depressor every time, and somebody takes it out of my hand.
Yeah, 50 doctors call.
Right.
Yes.
But what happens is, because as an actor, you're very delicate when you touch things, you know, okay, is this... And what happens is, you start to spend time around doctors, and doctors are carpenters, you know, they do, they got to move the knee, and, you know. And bit by bit, as you get more confident, it becomes much easier to do it, because you're not ginger with things anymore.
What do you mean you spend time around doctors?
We have doctors and nurses that work on the show every day.
And show you everything to do.
Every
and tell
single
you
thing.
what to say.
And most of the extras in any trauma scene are nurses, are real
Why?
nurses, because they're the ones who kind of buoy us up. They're the ones who say, okay, you know, do this and touch that and do that. And we have technical advisors.
So doctors come and go through each scene with you, and then you follow it and say what they say. Let's go back a bit. Your father, Nick Clooney, was famous when you were growing up. He had his own talk show. He was a big deal in the town, in the city. Your aunt, Rosario Clooney. Did you always feel that it was show business? Was there that kind of pressure from the time you were a little kid?
That kind of pressure, always. So I knew I could get my foot in the door. The problem was, once it was in the door, they'd expect me to be as good as my father, and I was never going to be that good, ever. He's the best.
You knew that. Are you competitive with your father?
Big time.
Still?
Sure. There's
No
still,
kidding.
not career-wise, because our careers are completely different.
When did you prove yourself? Or haven't you?
I'm certain I haven't. I don't know that anyone ever does.
When you came to California, you stayed with Rosario Clooney.
Yeah.
Okay. Did she help you get started? Is that how it worked when you got to California?
Well, I always think, you know, you get off the plane and they go, Rosemary Clooney's nephew, right this way.
Sure,
we got a job.
It doesn't happen. Yeah.
It doesn't happen. Here's how she helped me. The two ways she helped me. She gave me a place to live, which without I couldn't have made it. For a year I lived there. And she, and I got to see how to avoid certain mistakes in my life by watching things that had gone wrong for her.
Seeing how she coped or didn't cope.
How she didn't cope a lot of times. You know, she had a very tough time of it. Very tough time of it. Eventually, it nearly destroyed her. And and my advantage is that I got to see how that worked, you know. It's very fleeting. Rosemary was as big a star as you could be in 1952. And people didn't know who she was in 1979. And the reason is, I mean, she didn't get less talented along the way. Things change.
Music changed.
Music changes, whatever changes. Things change.
How are you more prepared? What do you tell yourself?
Here's what you tell yourself. And I'll give you the best example I know. I did a pilot right after Roseanne. Big deal for me. It was a half-hour Western called Hot Prospects. And Barbara Corday was the head of CBS then. And we did a table reading. Table readings where everyone sits around and does it for the first time and reads it. And I do the table reading. It goes really well because they always go well. And Barbara comes over and she goes, so you're lightning in a bottle. You're lightning in a bottle. There's Robin Williams and there's you. That's it. I mean, comedy, that's it. That's you. Okay, thanks, Barbara. And she went away, and my agents called me, my dad, how'd it go? Well, I'm lightning in a bottle. And we kind of laughed about it. A week later, they had fired all the other actors. They had fired the director. They'd rewritten the script a dozen times. And Barbara called me into the office, and she said, I want to bring in an acting teacher for you. And I said, oh, so let me just get this straight. I'm no longer lightning in a bottle. The thing is, had I believed the first one, the second one would have devastated me.
Are the tabloids playing with you now?
Oh, yeah.
What are they saying?
The thing that's dangerous is, now, as opposed to trying to catch you doing something wrong, they try to create it. Now they try to, you know, you'll be walking with a girl, and they'll go, hey, George, who's the fat girl you're with? Yeah. So you turn around and go, hey, listen, pal. And then they send that.
Sell that.
And they sell that. And they do. And there are people that buy it.
They're trying to provoke you to, you know.
They're trying to